The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 145 of The Daily Mother Swole. Episode 145 with these freaking gains. This episode is called Deadlifts for Life. 8 reasons why you need to deadlift. And if you don't know what a deadlift is, that's when you squat down and you pull a weight or a mass up off the ground. It's an essential exercise, it's an extremely functional exercise, and it's one of those exercises that each and every one of you should be doing in some capacity. And let me explain why. First off, the deadlift, number one, the deadlift is a compound exercise. Compound exercise means that it's using multiple joints. You're using the ankle joint, the knee joint, the hip joint. You're using the shoulder joint. You're activating every single core muscle in the entire body. You're working on your breathing. It's just an absolutely technical masterpiece when it comes to joint activity. If you had only one exercise to do, one to choose, only one you could do for the rest of your life, the deadlift would be a very, very good choice if you wanted to hit as many muscle groups as possible. And compound means it's not isolation. You're not isolating your biceps. You're not isolating your glutes. You're doing an entire total body movement. It's very synergistic. It's very integrated. And there's a lot of intermuscular coordination that's very important for other lifts. Number two, it's very functional. The deadlift is extremely functional. Obviously, if you ever drop something on the ground, you are lifting something from a dead stop. Technically, if you pick your purse up off the ground, you're doing a form of a dead lift. That's why you should always use your legs, not your back. You should use your legs because it's safer. It keeps your spine in a better position. And when you fall out of that proper position, even when you're picking up something light, you could hurt yourself if you're not well trained or well stretched, so to speak. So the functionality of the deadlift is very important. You're going to be picking up something for the rest of your life off the ground or from a lower position. And if you can't pick something off the ground, you're starting to lose your own independence, and that's going to affect your life as you get older. So super functional, super realistic. You're always picking things up. That's just makes sense. That straight up makes sense. Testosterone increases when you work larger muscle groups. Number 3, your testosterone will increase, and that's for females and for males, but obviously for females, very minuscule amounts, because testosterone helps metabolize fat and helps rebuild rebuild protein and rebuild muscle tissue. If you're trying to get larger, you're trying to build muscle, doesn't matter if you're a female or a male, a little amount of muscle, a lot amount of muscle. If you're trying to develop your muscle tissue, you need to increase your testosterone. And the larger muscle groups that you work, the more growth hormone will be released, the more positive anabolic hormones your body will produce to repair that tissue. So deadlifts are very important from getting big all over the place. Yeah, burning fat. I mean, testosterone is one of those, most of those anabolic hormones also metabolize fats more. So I mentioned that, but that's a great point. Another one. Number 4, glutes and coordination. I talked about intermuscular coordination. That means the muscles communicating with one another. I always talk about the glutes being super important. I talk about the glutes being the king of the jungle, being the most important muscle group to train. That's going to help keep your body aligned and strong and balanced above the hips and below the hips. Deadlifts are glute powerhouse. Deadlifts is like the home of the glutes. That's where the glutes reside. Yeah, the glutes work during squats, but the deadlifts, the glutes are absolutely on point. So if you're activating your glutes properly, if you're doing deadlifts properly, you're working your glutes, and you are, as a result, teaching your body to synergize and synergistically work and coordinate every muscle around those glutes that should be working. Remember, everything else is going to work as well, but you just want the glutes to be in charge. You want the glutes to be the king of the jungle. You want the glutes to be the CEO. You want the glutes to be doing all the activity that the glutes should be doing, so then the other muscles can take over the jobs that they should be doing. It doesn't mean the glutes are doing all the work. It just means they're doing all the work that they should be doing. That's what we mean by retraining. That's what I mean by coordination. That's what I mean by activating the glutes, working the glutes being the king of the jungle. The glutes should be doing all the work that the glutes should be doing. Again, that seems like common sense, but your body doesn't understand that because the glutes are being shut down because you're sitting down a lot and movement patterns and on and on. Another topic, but that's why. Next one, number 5, mass with larger muscle groups. You're going to build more muscle when you work larger muscle groups. The glutes are huge, the quads are huge, the hamstrings are huge, the back is huge. This posterior chain is what's going to keep you strong. If you want to work your core, you got to do deadlifts. Most people think the core is the six pack, and yeah, it looks nice, and for some reason that's, attractive to people, seeing a couple squares on someone's stomach. It just means they're lean and powerful, strong. It just gives this subconscious evolutionary, oh man, that person's powerful. That's great. The aesthetics are great. It's great to have abs. It's great to have a six pack. I'm very happy that I have what I have, considering the little effort that I put into that area of my body. I shouldn't say little. I put a ton of work into it over the years, just not lately. It's nice to have abs. I'm not trying to be cocky about it either. It's great, but that's not what your core is all about. It's an illusion. It's a misconception, as often with the news or watching things on TV or looking at Muscle and Fitness. When you take a picture for the cover of a magazine, yeah, the abs look great because you could see them, but that's not what's helping your core. That's superficial stuff. Literally, they're called superficial muscles because they're closer to the surface of the skin. You can see them. That's great. It doesn't mean that they're the most effective muscle to work and to have good core strength. That's the problem, and that's why people exacerbate these issues with their lower backs, because they think, oh, my back is hurt, I need to strengthen my core, and they do crunches until they pass out, whereas they're actually just really creating a lot more pressure around their lumbar spine and causing more pain and more problems. What people need to do is work more intrinsically. Deadlifts can help with that because you're activating a lot of core musculature. On my YouTube channel, Swolenormous, on my exercise playlist, I have things like the supine hip bridge, the single leg squat. On Premium, I've talked about the single leg balance reach. I've talked about the plank and the drawing in maneuver and keeping your stomach engaged and drawn in, activating those intrinsic core stabilizer muscles. Those are what's important to protect yourself and to strengthen your core and to keep your spine strong. You can have abs too, that's fine, but the six pack is meant to flex the spine. It's not meant to stabilize the spine. There's a big difference between movement and stabilization, and although the six pack looks great, those are meant to move. They're not meant to stabilize, and they can actually cause more harm than good if the stabilizers are not working properly. That might be a lot to swallow. You might want to replay that and listen to it again. But bottom line, you need to be working the muscles inside that you can't see for core strength. But deadlifts work a lot of all the muscles, inside and out. That's why me like the deadlift. There are different ways to do deadlift. Yeah, there are different ways. There's the stiff leg deadlift, the RDL. There's a sumo. There's a standard position. There are dumbbells. You can use kettlebells. You can use cables. You can use bands even. You could do strongman type deadlifts where you're lifting objects. It's such a functional exercise, and there's also variety. The most important thing is your form is correct, and obviously this is a talk show. I cannot show you proper form, but you can see on some of my exercise videos when I've been in the gym, I do deadlifts, and you can watch my form. There are great exercise breakdowns online. I will be putting more exercise breakdowns moving forward. There will be more information on that. It just takes time because I'm doing all these videos and things myself, but it will be up there. But that's what we do also in my premium page on Facebook Premium, Swolenormous Premium. I do movement assessments. I have my members of the group upload their own videos of squats, deadlifts, whatever they want, and I will assess their form. They take a clip of themselves doing it in the gym or at home, and I will analyze their form and give them corrective exercises and what they can do to change and improve and take away pain and get them stronger and move through the movement with less risk. So it's a work in progress when you don't have an expert watching you. Even for myself, it's hard for me to keep in proper position and analyze my own form. It's great when I take videos of myself because I can see my own form, but it's a work in progress, and it's important to balance the heavy weight with proper form, not going too heavy. And, moving properly is a luxury, and you have to appreciate that, and you have to understand how important that is for longevity. Too many people are looking for things right now in terms of technology, in terms of the body. It doesn't relate. The body is slow on the evolutionary scale. It adapts slowly. You want your iPhone? Hey, Siri, tell me a story about, blah, blah, blah. You'll get it right away. You go to Google, you get the answer right away. Your body does not respond that fast. So we have to, as a human race, as people, as society, we have to segregate and separate these two ideas and remember that the body does not give instant gratification like that. And we have to appreciate that and have patience. It's very hard when we don't need patience a lot of times nowadays because everything happens so quickly. But we need to relearn patience with the body and remember that the body takes time and we have to give it that time and that respect. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. If you go up in weight too quick, if you try to move too quick, if you try to do too much of one type of exercise too quickly when you haven't done it before, you don't allow adaptation and your body doesn't have that structure built yet and developed yet, and you can easily get hurt, and then you're out. Remember, getting hurt is like the major thing that sets you back. Overtraining and injury is just because then you're not training. You know, you want to be active recovery, you want to be healing yourself while you're doing it, so you're always progressing. It's a challenge. You got to find your balance, but that's the idea you want to keep in mind. You could do deadlifts. Number 7, you could do deadlifts on leg day. You could do deadlifts on back day. You could do deadlifts on its own day. The body and the mood swings. This guy juices my mood swings. You don't know much about steroids. Mood swings have nothing to do. It just exists. That's a good comment, though. Not true. Let's get back to it. I just had to call that out on Periscope. Someone was claiming that I do illegal substances. I need some coffee. Pause. Push play. You could do deadlifts on leg day. You could do deadlifts on back day. You could do deadlifts on their own day. You can really do deadlifts whenever you want. You can do deadlifts on a power day. You can do deadlifts with legs. I would only recommend, especially if you're a beginner, to do deadlifts first. Warm up properly. Do a lot of warm-up sets. Do your warm-up, do your stretching, cardio, whatever you want to do before, and build up slowly. Do deadlifts first because that exercise takes a lot of intermuscular coordination. It takes a lot of intermuscular coordination. So if you're fatiguing the muscles doing lunges first or squats first, or let's say a lot of back, upper body exercises first, you are putting your body more at risk for not having 100% activity, 100% strength, 100% coordination. Those stabilizers are going to be weaker when you actually get to the deadlift. So be careful. Be careful doing other exercises before you do deadlifts, especially if you're new to training or you're new to getting back into deadlifts. Never underestimate how much deadlifts will take out of your body, unless you're going lighter and not to failure. But just because it's lightweight and you're going to failure doesn't mean you can't get hurt, so be careful. And number 8, you could do low or high reps. Both are awesome. High rep deadlifts are nasty. Low rep and heavyweight deadlifts are nasty. I would recommend if you're starting off doing deadlifts, you've never really done it before, do less weight than required. Don't go to failure. Do a rep range of at least 10 or 12 to 20 repetitions. Make sure, because most of you won't be able to start off lifting 135 pounds, the reason why a lot of these Olympic bars and the reason why CrossFit weights and the reason why all these weights look big even when they're not 45-pound plates is because the deadlift should be done from a standardized height. That's why you have 10-pound plates that look huge, because it keeps the bar a certain distance off the ground. It bothers me so much when I see these girls in the gyms doing deadlifts with a bar with 10 pounds on each side. That's ridiculous. It's stupid. They don't have the flexibility for it. They're rounding their back. Their form sucks. They're not strong enough to do the big plates, but they're not raising the bar out. So what you need to do is you need to put supports. You need to put a stand. You need to put little like benches there or blocks there so you can have the bar at a higher starting point. You can go lighter. It's fine. You can just do just the bar, but you need to have 2 benches there where you can have the bar starting from at least the height of where it would be with the 45-pound plates. Need to make sure that your back is flat, that your weight is over the midfoot. Start as high as you can. They're called rack pulls. You could start as high as you can as you want for the deadlift, as long as your form is right. If your back starts rounding and your knees start buckling or your form is looking shitty, you need to start at a higher level, and you also need to work on flexibility. So make sure that you are not, if you're doing less than 135, if you don't have those bumper plates, that you are raising the bar. You're doing it off the power rack. You're doing it off supports or 2 blocks or those plastic benches that they use in group exercise classes, that you're adjusting the height. That way you can do it with proper form. Thank you for joining me for episode 145. Remember, you can catch us every day live at 12 noon Eastern Time on Facebook, Periscope, and Busker. You can also find me on YouTube at Swolenormous and the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. Great as a podcast are all on there. This is episode 145. So I'll stay for a few minutes after for a couple questions briefly. And I will see everyone tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time for episode 146 of the Daily Mother Swole. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your hump day.